Minefield.
Oh, look at you. We won't even do the opening intro. You go ahead, just do it.
This is how it is. Now I feel self-conscious because I see the live thing. You dirty, rotten scoundrel, you.
Welcome to Streaming with Gary.
The true meaning of the back door. Dude.
We grew up on television. The tube was our babysitter. Guidance through the tube. Moral sent by transmitter. This is where you go to get down to the know about great TV shows all on one show. It's time for some TGIF right here on Pop Culture Minefield.
Pop Culture Minefield. There you go. There you go.
Thank God it's Friday on Pop Culture Minefield. Thank God it's Friday on Pop Culture Minefield. Thank God it's Friday on Pop Culture Minefield.
All right. Had us in the wrong studio, Martin.
Yeah.
I realized it after you fucked everything up. Yeah.
Sorry.
Hey, Keith is here.
Kid?
You did?
I said, hey, Keith is here. There. What's up, buddy?
Hello.
So we're going to be talking about the classic.
We got a good movie.
Yes, we do. And we've got some lag. So I'm going to do that, see if that'll help with our lag. We've got War of the Worlds today from 1953, not 54. And it is a George Powell classic. I mean, he gave us some great films. I mean, George Powell kind of paved the way for science fiction. Technically, I mean, he started with what was the moon film? Not First Men to the Moon.
I think it was Rocket Ship XM.
No, oh no, there's Something to the Moon was the first film he did. It was called
First Man on the Moon.
Destination Moon, 1950, and then he did the next serious sci-fi film, When Worlds Collide, as a producer, and then he produced this film, as well as, pretty much oversaw the effects that were done for it. And I know, like, we watched the documentary and the guy says, he pretty much, started the way. And I'm like, no, the first serious science fiction film was When Worlds Collide, which came out in the latter half of 1951. But the first space invasion film came out earlier that year in April, and that was Thing from Another World. And so the first three real serious alien invasion films were The Thing from Another World, followed immediately by Day the Earth Stood Still, followed then by this film in 53. So, and all three of them paved the way for serious science fiction cinema, because they were all A-budget films.
Yeah. Look, there is something to be said for this period of filmmaking. This helped set the standard for what is known as really the sci-fi features, and helped also to set the formula for a lot of science fiction features. But it being one of the first and one of the best, you know, for my money, just the combination of the stars, the story, and how colorful it was. There are images in this film that burn themselves into the memory of every science fiction fan. And the ships in this movie are just the sound that they emit.
So beautiful. Yeah. Well, look, you've got two elements there. You've got the visual effects and then the sound design. And the sound design
it can't be beat.
Incredible.
It cannot be beat.
They did things in this film that were ahead of its time. And the reason why was they were trying to figure out, how in the hell are we going to do this? How are we going to show these rays coming out of the cobra-like heads of the snake heads of these ships? And the ships themselves were designed to look like manta rays, you know, which made them really kind of scary. And but before we get started here, we cannot ignore our chat. I mean, I've tried to, and it doesn't help. We got who was first here? Tom Baker. Tom Baker is here with his political statement that is true. Technically, we are on the verge of world war right now, and it's pretty horrifying. Tom Baker also says Keith is great. So there's some love for you, Keith. If you get none from me, you get some from Tom today. Yeah, the check's in the mail. Tell him like old Jack Burton tells him, the check's in the mail. Slasher Fred, Jack Burton, me. Slasher Fred is here. Slasher says, I think that what made the original War of the Worlds such a unique movie is how it came out during when lots of people had feared not just the atomic bomb. It happened within the year of the flying saucers over DC, the real incident. And so there was a mass hysteria. And then we can't forget, when Orson Welles worked for, I think it was NBC Radio, and he did War of the Worlds for Halloween. And he made claims, we made it clear it was a show, but they had intentionally and knowingly and were caught in their lie that they had intentionally done this to scare people. And they did. They scared the living shit out of people.
And a lot of people did something that they couldn't regret after.
Yeah. I mean, a water tower was pretty much destroyed because locals thought it was a fucking tripod walking down the street.
So you could say that the Martians were the Godzilla of the Occident.
It's funny you bring up Godzilla, because one of the lead effects guys on this film is Japanese. He's the one who designed, even though he in an interview, he said his daughter tried to take credit for the shape of the ships being manta rays. But Japanese special effects artist. The Shape of Things to Come, Alexander Korda's 1930 movie, wasn't too bad. No, it's not. It also was one of the films that got made while H.G. Wells was still alive, because he actually was an advisor on the film. Yeah, the film actually does a nod to Orson Welles' radio production, and they get a gentleman by the name of Paul Frees to do the news radio voice. You never see his face in the film. And it's funny because two of the actors in this film were in The Thing from Another World.
Mm-hmm.
And one of them actually plays a scientist in both films. I forget the gentleman's name, but he did some really great interviews on how he got the part, because George Powell freaked out when he hired him, because in his photos, he's blonde. And in person, his hair is different. And the reason he got hired was because of his blonde hair. So trying to find his name. Cast 1950.
Those weren't his photos.
I think I'm the only person here who opens up tabs for stuff about the movie.
Well, I'm not, because then shit's crashing. He wasn't blonde in all his photos. Those were just the photos that the director found. So he thought the guy was blonde.
Robert Cornthwaite. He was the lead scientist in The Thing from Another World, and he played one of the main scientists in this. Another actor who is in this that plays a general or a major is Les Tremayne. You know him as the guy Mentor from Shazam TV series.
Yep.
Oh, I thought he was Tremayne, younger brother. Haha.
Sorry, Joe.
Oh my God.
I wish.
Just like that, the show died.
The frustration on Gary's face is palpable.
Oh wow.
Oh, I'm not really frustrated. It's just sometimes the dad jokes that fucking Martin comes up with. Just like, they fall flat, which makes it even funnier.
That's the point of a dad joke.
War of the Worlds is just a glorified euphemism for decaying marriage.
No, that's actually
You shut your face, Scribe.
Yeah, shut up. Scribe. What, Keith?
That's actually Casino Royale.
Oh,
Well,
I'm
it
letting
was.
everybody
It
let
was.
that-
It was.
that
It was.
sink
It was Ian Fleming, who was a lifelong bachelor, and he wrote that because he had just gotten engaged, and he was saying goodbye to his, being a bachelor life. So that's what he wrote.
Well, he kind of lived vicariously through Christopher Lee's story. You know. Or I should say stories.
Yeah.
Ian Fleming was like, I'm not Bond, but I knew all the guys that were.
Yeah.
Because there are like three major influences for James Bond. One of them being his cousin through marriage, Christopher Lee. Another one is the guy, I think Moore was his name. He was the skier. And he lived that life too. Just it's crazy shit. Anyway,
Yeah.
so I want to point out again that one of the coolest things about these early sci-fi films, including when we just watched a week ago, is painted. The paintings were by Chesley Bonestell. He made a career. He worked for every major studio doing astronomical artwork for their sci-fi films.
Yep.
And Chesley Bonestell, of course, is not just a great artist for film. He is one of the most respected astronomical artists in the history of the form. So you've got that. And let's see, what is the gentleman's name? I'm trying to find it real quick here. Because I know Ben Burt got his start on this film. Quick, Keith, explain to everybody who Ben Burt is and why that name's important.
yes, please.
Ben Burt, wasn't he the sound guy for
Wasn't he the
Star
sound
Wars.
guy? Wasn't
the sound guy?
Like,
The sound guy for Star Wars.
he's the guy who gave us lightsaber sounds. He's the one
Yes.
who created all those amazing lightsaber and
I'm sorry, I was doing the
blaster
math in my,
sound effects.
I was trying
I mean,
to do
what
the
he
math in my head
did,
because he
He
didn't
recorded
seem to be
the
that
sound.
old.
he recorded the sound of steel belted truck tires on a highway and on a concrete highway. And that is the sound of the fucking TIE fighter. The sound of a blaster was him going up to a tension cord or cable between
And hitting
a power pole and the ground. And he would get the mic right up to it and he would smack it with a wrench. And that is the sound of a blaster. And I discovered a similar sound when I was doing construction back in the 80s. And we had just built a sub basement for a bank where the vault was going to go. And we went down in there to do some last minute cleanup, make sure there were no tie rods or anything for our scaffolding laying around. And I looked up and I saw that I-beam right above my head in the embedded on both ends in concrete. And I smacked that thing and it sounded like the most awesome laser blast I've ever heard in my life. And I'm like, Ben Burt, eat your fucking heart out. Because even back in the 80s, I knew who Ben Burt was like the sound guy. Oh my God, Keith.
I'm sorry, I was just trying to do the math in my head.
He was the sound guy.
And
He was
He doesn't. It just doesn't seem like he's that old. You know, I mean, again, it just.
He was young when this movie got made, and and I'm trying to find the miniature guy's name. And
in the meantime, I'm gonna bring up this picture that Neff is sharing with us.
Yeah, while you're looking for something, I'll share a story because I will have almost zero to add to today's show.
Yeah, the tripod.
I told you all numerous times before. I like hanging out with you guys and listen to the stories. I just either I'm here or in the chat. This is the picture of the record album. This is my first encounter with War of the Worlds, because I think I told you this live when we talk about came in at late during the Flash Gordon. I grew up with a ton of these albums, like record albums, and a few of them were from movies. I just didn't know they're from movies. Sort of like Flash Gordon until the VHS landed on my doorstep. Same goes with War of the Worlds. I've listened to this album before, and it sounded different from what I used to listen to. And then I think it was during summer holiday or some kind of a Jewish holiday. They just had it on. They had it on TV. So like 10 a.m. or 11 a.m. screening. It was in the morning, and was sort of, I think I've seen it after I've seen like Star Wars. So I was into like the sci-fi stuff, and it came on, and I don't remember this tripod in the movie. I just didn't remember it, and I didn't make any connection between the two until later on, because I watched it when it was like between 7 and 9. Yeah, that's what I remember. 10 maybe. But yeah, it's a freaky album. Let's just say that to listen to as a kid, it's a freaky album.
Dude, the tripod looks straight out of 2001.
I don't remember if it's in the movie or not. I haven't seen it in a while. I've only seen the movie twice, and it's both of them was when I was a kid. To me, watching these old sci-fi movies, the World Stood Still, all those movies, I've seen them tangentially here and there, but I don't remember the entire story. Because it used to be on like randomly on TV, on like regular broadcast.
I just wanted to show this to you because this is Albert Nozaki, the guy who designed the Martian warships in the film.
It's crazy though. This is 53.
Yeah. And these things are huge, by the way. They're about 5 feet across.
No, I was going to say, you would think this guy definitely was in an internment camp during the war, right?
Probably.
I think he actually served in the military, if I recall correctly.
Oh, really? Because he was born in 1912, so he's like, what, 30 something during the war.
Yeah, he came over from Japan. Let's see, in 1938, and for many years thereafter, Al Nozaki lived in Echo Park, California, shortly after the Japanese attack on Pearl Harbor. 1941, Nozaki was abruptly dismissed from his job at Paramount following the signing of the Executive Order 9066 by Democratic President Franklin Delano Roosevelt in the spring of 42, and subsequent roundup of 120,000 West Coast residents of Japanese descent. He and his wife, Lorna, were sent to the Manzanar internment camp in Owens Valley, California. So
see, I did add to the show.
Yeah. But anyway, what I love is that this is interesting to me for multiple reasons, because the best known miniature work really came out of Japan in the 50s, and with the birth of the kaiju films with Godzilla, etc. But the fact is, a Japanese artist brought that shit to America too. It actually was here before it hit over there. This was his work. The Martian war machines, which they wanted originally to be tripods, which is why you see 3 lit holes in the bottom of the ship. That was one of the ideas, is to have them animated. But Paramount said no, because it would quadruple the film's budget to do the animation. So they took the idea of the legs out, but instead instilled something very interesting. And I pointed it out to Animal when we were watching the film, that you could actually see something like tripods under them.
Yep.
Which was done through 2 different forms of effects, animation, and through using smoke and light. And you could see not only the bell-shaped shields of these vehicles, or they called, what are they called? Umbrellas?
Blister. A blister.
Blister. It's like, we know what shields are. Shields have been around for centuries. Why didn't you just say shields? Why did they say blister and umbrella? But visually, though, it was really striking, because what they ended up doing was taking bell jars that were actually a lot smaller and lit them in the foreground against a black backdrop. And then they would superimpose them over the ships whenever you would see blasts. And it was really kind of a cool effect that was like done on the cheap, but in a very effective way. And also, again, you could see the tripods a couple of times in the film, thanks to smoke and light and to animation. And the animation wasn't making a move. It was just, you could see something solid supporting the ship. And they were done with wires too. And they painted the wires blue in order for it to blend with the background. But in the end, I could still see them in the, when I saw it on film, and when I saw it on, high definition video, you can still see the wires.
Look who's here. Veritax, dude.
Welcome
Hey,
back.
Good to see you again.
Sup, V?
Let's see. Who Vinkman's girl is here too. Of course, our dear friend Sasha Fred, Tom Baker. Sander Hammerflag is here. Let's see. And Veritax. So
We made a really weak breach earlier.
Andy Morrow. Krampus Jeebus, of course, is here. Make sure I didn't forget anybody. Railway Nation Gaming is here too. There we go.
Yeah.
So this is the gentleman that was in charge of the miniatures. And I will point out that the miniatures in these aren't really miniatures. They're fucking gigantic. And what's her name? Anne, that plays the second lead in the film. She got to go in there after they were done shooting the primary footage of the film, and walked into the studio and saw these things hovering above her because they were slightly moving across the field.
Wow.
And she said it was something, because it was eerie because they were silent. There was no sound as these things were hovering overhead and moving.
Forrest J.
P40
Ackerman
right there
has one of these, one or two. He had one or two of these in his collection.
What?
One of the ships.
Well, nobody got any of the ships from the film. The film models were melted down and given to the Boy Scouts to get them money.
So there's none left?
The original ships, no, they were destroyed.
Wow.
The closest one is Bob Burns had one that was made for the TV series off of the design from the film. But the original metal models, they were actually made of metal, copper, and they were melted down and given, like I said, to the Boy Scouts.
Which was standard for a lot of studios back then. They would often destroy a lot of what they made, because this is before they actually recognized the value to fans.
Oh, these things might be worth something one day.
Yeah.
Nowadays, sometimes they destroy them instead of reusing or even at least selling them to fans.
Well, now you can auction them off for a lot of money, either to keep for yourself and or for charity, which is what they did with a lot of the stuff that belonged to the Battlestar Galactica revival series from Sci-Fi Channel. A lot of that stuff got auctioned off.
And depending on what it is, if it's not a unique piece, it actually turns out in a big sort of props warehouse. I didn't know that. However, I was in Universal Studios in LA in April, and we did the tour, and they actually took us to the props section, and they definitely told us not to touch anything. But it's a huge warehouse, and one of like a prop that was supposed to be used in I don't remember. He told us the movie ended up in the props section because they didn't use it in the movie itself. It's a sort of an elaborate throne. Again, if I could remember the name of the movie, I would tell you. But it's sort of an elaborate throne, not Game of Thrones. It's Universal. But they ended up not using the throne, so they put it in the prop section in order for maybe it'll appear in some other movie that they needed this crazy, over-the-top, skull-written throne. But yeah, I did ask if like some memorabilia would either been instead of being auctioned off, appear in a different movie. And the guy said, well, yeah, if it's valuable enough.
Heck yeah. Now I'm going to point out again, Chesley Bonestell is the artist who did the astronomical paintings for this. This is one of them right here of Earth. Now, Earth tended in the 50s and even into the 60s being painted incorrectly. This one is not incorrect. This is actually pretty much the way the planet looks. A lot of people don't know that we have had a photograph of Earth from space since 1947. It was on a Concorde V2 rocket that was brought over to the U.S. by the Department of, the War Department. And because it wasn't the Department of Defense, and it was the War Department. And it was confiscated by the U.S. Army. And along with that confiscation of that rocket came Werner von Braun, a former pin and flag bearing member of the Yahtzee party. He had rank in the Yahtzee party, and but America bought him, and to the highest bidder goes the spoils of war. But Chesley Bonestell is why the paintings in this film look so damn good, and they're accurate. I mean, even for its day and age, it's beyond accurate for the 1950s. And this is what Earth would look like with the swirling clouds all over it. So that was just something I wanted to point out. Beautiful artwork by Chesley Bonestell. By the way, Anima and I watched, or did I watch it by myself? And I think I watched it by myself. The Planet of Vampires.
No, you watched that on your own. I didn't.
Yeah, I watched it on my own. I had to record a copy of it, so you can watch it later.
Found out something today that a movie that I like very much is not streaming anywhere. Dogma, of all movies, is not streaming anywhere because it belongs to Miramax, and Miramax is under Disney, and Disney doesn't release it on any other platform, nor does it have it on Disney Plus. So it's weird. You can't get Dogma anywhere.
That sucks.
Yeah, it's a fun film. I enjoyed the film. Buddy Jesus.
Yep. Buddy Christ.
I paused this for a reason because the gentleman with the pushed up hat over on the right. You're gonna say something?
Oh no, I knew exactly where you were headed. I know that actor.
Yes, he's been in a lot of stuff, comedic actor, including the Andy Griffith Show. And I forget what the hell his name is. What is his name?
Let's see. Oh, jeez.
He always had a bit of a stutter, not like a stammer, but he go, but, and he'd make a pop sound, and then he'd say the word. Good actor, excellent comedic timing. Can't think of his name right now. Doesn't matter. Oh man, if only I could do a billion things at one time. So Robert Cornwith again is that actor I brought up a minute ago that plays a scientist in this. He was also the lead scientist in Thing from Another World. And of course, Les Tremayne, I brought him up. Everybody remembers him more for playing Mentor on the Shazam series. But he had a bunch of stuff. He was on in these classic A-list B movies, A-listed B movies. And he made a career out of playing characters on Perry Mason and other hit TV shows. Les Tremayne. Now, Gene Barry is the lead actor in this, and they wanted to go with lesser-known actors for this film. So they got Anne Robinson in this, who is not only an unknown, according to everybody that cast her, she was the wrong girl for the part. So they had to make her the right girl for the part. And so
she nailed the reading. She didn't look
it's the
part,
reading.
But she nailed everything.
She didn't
else.
look it, but she nailed everything else. And so she is great in this film. And she's only like 5'1", real tiny girl. Yeah. And I think that's probably one of the essential things for being in a movie like this, being able to scream. There's nothing worse than having an actress that will at some point need to scream and then sound like shit. That led to a movie called Blowout by
that's
Brian De Palma.
how Jamie Lee Curtis got her job. And
scream.
nepotism. And nepotism.
Yeah.
What?
You know, mom and dad were movie stars.
What?
That helps.
Her mom was the movie star. What do you mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
What is it? Janet Leigh.
Janet Leigh.
Yeah, Janet Leigh and Tony Curtis.
Tony Curtis.
Now, what wasn't known very well, but I knew it back in the 80s, was that she was born with both genitals. And I said it weird on purpose because I thought it'd be funny. Anyway, instead of saying genitals, say genitals. Because some people say, English people say genitals, which is weird.
I saw her genitals in Trading Places. I don't know what you're talking about.
She was born with both, and she was surgically made to be just one gender. And but she
is it because her dad did Some Like It Hot?
Oh, jeez. No.
It's a joke.
It's
a joke.
It was a good
Relax.
joke. I liked it.
It was a good joke.
Oh, wow.
Because if you know, you know.
You know, yeah.
Now, the gentleman here, the minister, that is played by Lewis Martin, who apparently got his name from Dean Martin and Jerry Lewis.
Probably not.
No, he was before them.
Looks like the guy who did The Exorcism.
Now, this dude here is funny as hell. That guy right there. He ends up going down and he just mooches off of the scientists that are out on a fishing trip. He like gets food from them, starts eating it in front of them, then steals one of their cigarettes.
Out of the guy's breast pocket. He has no shame.
Yeah, takes it right out of his pocket.
So he's the Ralph Cramden of this movie?
Yeah, the Ralph Cramden. I guess that's the way to put it.
One of the other actresses in this film is Carolyn Jones. This is all pre. You know her really as Morticia Addams from the Addams Family.
Cool.
She was a good actor.
She was a very good actor.
She was a great Morticia.
Yeah. Also want to point out again that I said Paul Frees is in this film. A lot of people don't know who Paul Frees is. I will show you who he is. He was one of the scientists from Thing from Another World.
He's a reporter in this film.
And he's a voice of a reporter. And most people from our age group remember him as being on Underdog, and he was a voice actor. And he did a lot of voice work. And he was handpicked because his voice has that same sort of tenor that Orson Welles had. And that's why they picked him to be the radio reporter doing the announcement from the scene. And they managed to keep a lot of narration into dialogue within this film. That's Paul Frees right there. A very good actor. He had a very distinct voice.
What do you mean dialogue to narration?
Like, because in the original book, the main character never has a name. He's never given a name. And a lot of his narration was converted into dialogue within the film. Still done as narration, because the scene where you hear the reporter describing what's happening, it is right from the book. The narration from the book.
Yeah, because I thought that they wanted to do kind of the same thing as they did with the radio show with Orson Welles, to capture that moment.
Well, I'm assuming Orson, because Orson actually wanted to make the movie. He's one of the many writer-directors that wanted to make the film, but Paramount owned all the rights to it. And even Alfred Hitchcock was on the list, the short list of directors that wanted to make War of the Worlds. But every single director wanted to make it a period piece and making it in the 1800s. But George Powell's idea was to make it contemporary. And he managed to pull it off. It works perfectly as a 50s motif. And by the way, George Powell gets all the credit, but if you look on right there, it says director Byron Haskin is the actual director of this film.
Well, in the slideshow, it does say in big red letters, producer George Powell, not director.
Yeah, it's his film.
But he's not. He was the creative force behind it. You're saying?
Yeah.
Okay.
He was, and in fact, there's a funny story where one of the heads over at Paramount wasn't a big sci-fi fan, and when he took all the artwork in to show him for the production, and the guy took it and threw it in the trash right in front of him. So that's where this needs to be filed. And when the executive producer, the head of Paramount, came into the office, he walked in and saw George Powell on top of the guy's desk, holding him by his throat and lapels. Was getting ready to fucking beat the shit out of him for doing that to his artwork. And the guy came in and stopped the fight and said, "You've got everything you want. You've got your budget. Go make your movie. Don't just ignore this guy. Don't ever listen to this guy ever again." And in the original book, I cannot remember who it was. I tend to think it was more scientists rather than locals, because these three guys, are these the three guys? They're two of the guys that end up getting killed by the Martians. But in the book, the original book, I think it was scientists that get killed. And what they do is like, we'll wave a white flag. Everybody knows what a white flag means. I'm like, no, they don't. Not everybody knows what a white flag means. Like, why would you even think that?
They did something similar in Mars Attacks, where they sort of got the doves out. And it was like, oh, everybody knows what doves mean, and the aliens are like, yeah, I'm gonna shoot it.
Well, there is a chance that the aliens have been studying Earth for a bit, so they know some of our customs, and you can always hope for that. But in this case, I mean, it looked like they crash landed, so they were probably on the way to some more interesting place. Didn't care in the first place. I don't know.
Now I do want to point out something here, because this is in the middle of doctors suggesting that cigarettes good for you. Period. Hollywood loved smoking. They made a ton of money off of the tobacco industry.
It was in the
And
60s
this
when they
is a
discovered
rare-
they do harm.
This is one of the rare films from that period where your main character doesn't smoke and points out that he doesn't smoke. And you'll notice that she doesn't smoke again in the rest of the film. This is the one time. And I thought that was interesting because that really kind of went against the trend of the period. I do love that she's sitting there talking about this scientist, and she doesn't know that she's talking to the scientist that she's talking about. Clayton Forrester. Ever hear of him?
Well, that's a Superman effect. He's wearing glasses now. How would she recognize him?
Yeah, where'd he go? He puts on glasses. Hey, he was just here.
It's so cheesy. I love it when he says, "Well, they're just to look at objects far away, to study objects far away." And then he takes them off and looks at her like, "Ah, man, okay."
So, now one of the things that I've learned over the years is that Gene Barry was a complete pompous prick, but apparently not on this film. This is his first movie. And so, you know, he hadn't become a diva yet. But by the time he was a star, as he liked to think of, he would get cast in a show. And one of them is a show that Keith and I have talked about before, where he would get other cast members fired because they were too tall. And it made him look diminutive. And he didn't like that. He didn't want to be physically upstaged by anybody. He wanted to look like the tallest person. And he was only 6 foot.
Like that.
He's only 6 foot.
It's called the Cruise Complex.
Tom Cruise.
Now.
Yeah, now.
Used
to be called the
Napoleon complex.
It used to be called the DeVito Complex, but I don't know.
Well, originally it was Napoleon, although he wasn't even that short.
Wasn't even that short. No.
Yeah.
Now, funny thing here is this Hispanic actor in the story, who's one of them that gets killed by the Martian, is actually Jack Crushen. He was an actor in a lot of TV and film when I was growing up, and he's quite not Mexican or Hispanic.
Oh, yeah.
That guy was in like everything, man. I'm looking at it. Oh my God, like every major film. He was all over the place in Abbott and Costello, Three Stooges stuff. God, man, he was everywhere. Dr. Clayton Forrester, did he make him watch bad films? That's a MST3K joke.
Yeah.
By the way, I had to run the video.
By what name are you known?
There are some who call me Tim.
Penny is here too. Hi, Penny.
Hey,
And
Penny.
Batman Walking just jumped in.
Okay. Oh my God, Hans Sander.
Oh.
Yeah.
Ouch.
Oh.
I love that joke on Family Guy. Why does Tom Cruise run in everything that he makes? And it shows him running, and he's having gay thoughts, and he's like, "You can't catch me, gay thoughts."
It did not originate in Family Guy. It's actually originating from South Park. They did a whole episode of that.
Well, they did the closet thing. I remember that.
Yeah.
Coming out of the closet. But no, the gay thoughts thing was from Family Guy, where like, why is he running? Because he's trying to get away from his gay thoughts. See, the guy there in the middle, he's playing a Mexican in this. He is not. He's Crucian, a very good character actor.
Well, if it works for Eli Wallach, then it should work for that guy too. Yeah. Dude, when
Tom Cruise
I realized he was like a Jewish actor, it's like I've seen The Good, the Bad, the Ugly a lot of times. I never thought for a second, because he, unlike Mickey Rooney, he actually did a good job. But yeah,
he wasn't a caricature, is why. Where Mickey Rudy's character is a caricature. Now, this screw top thing is actually all the way from the original book. It unscrewed from the ship and opened the hatch. This is crazy to me. This is crazy. Putting a straw in a narrow bottle like that, you're asking for it to foam up on you. So
only if you
weird.
don't know how to drink from a straw.
Exactly.
I've seen kids do it without any problem.
Like,
And
is
that
there a
was
fucking
old-
school for this? Like, you don't know how to like, who doesn't know how to suck on a straw?
Dude, we do it all the time in Latin America. I never seen that shit that you're talking about.
Yeah.
Oh, I
The only
should've
thing
seen
that's
it.
happening is when you let go of the straw, it will rise out of the bottle for a bit
That too.
from the carbonation. But the foaming, I've never seen that.
It's just bizarre because the bottle is meant. The narrow end of the bottle is designed specifically so you can drink from it and not have it all.
Yeah, but
just
some people
pouring
are grossed
mouth.
out by the top of the bottle, even though there's a cap on it. But some just don't want them to touch their lips, so they need a straw.
So
and
the
that's
two
not
things,
possible.
again, that Albert Nozaki was trying to do was to make this thing look dangerous from the get-go. So it has a cobra-like head that comes out and looks around. And there was a miniature version, and then there was an actual full-scale version of that they used in the film. And it used cables with a guy controlling it, just like with the fake hands that you can do that with. And in fact, the first use that I'm aware of was in this film, because the Martian hand is made the same way, that a guy went in would squeeze and then the hand would squeeze. And they built a long Martian arm to grab Anne's shoulder in the infamous scary scene. That scared the shit out of her first time she saw it. Somebody popped.
Was it
Was it
Keith?
me?
Somebody
Yeah, it was
went.
Keith.
Keith.
Oh,
Hashtag
yeah.
Yankee.
I spend my time popping and locking.
Pop and lock.
As long as you're not clapping, because that always sounds suspicious.
Oh,
Now, an interesting effect that was done for this is it was the sparks from the little, I forget what they're called. We used them in welding, and it had a bit of flint in it, and you would spark it, and then they would blow on it, and it would blow the sparks out a certain way, and that's how they created the effect for this.
So they use the same kind of stone they use for Zippo lighters?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Everybody knows what a white flag means. Maybe it means attack. Or maybe it means delicious. Eat us.
Well,
And that is one thing that they do leave out of this film, is that the Martians consume humans.
That's one thing that's pretty cool in the new movie is when you see all the goo that they turn humans into.
Yep.
I like that. That's one of the
The
things that I
giant
like
needle
about
that
the
goes
new
in
ones.
and removes all liquid from the body.
But story-wise,
Leaves
I
it a
prefer
husk.
this version because you can really see it. It impacts the whole world. In the new version, they made it all drama about the lead character and changed
his
the story.
family.
It didn't stick to the book, and it was weird.
Because there were characters in the original book, but the main character is never named. And I've always believed it was intended to be, or H.G. Wells himself recording it. It's his romancing the stone character. Now, this is Anne's dad, the minister. This is cool, too. This is one of the first times you see in science fiction the mention of an EMP. And even though they don't call it an electromagnetic pulse, it's clear what they're inferring here is that it's an EMP, because anybody have a needle or a pen, and then he sits it there and he puts it next to the watch, and then it slides across the table, attaching itself to the watch, showing that it's magnetized.
And that's what stopped all the
And that's what
watches.
happens with EMPs.
Alvy Moore. That's the name of the actor. Character actor Alvy Moore.
Oh, from Andy Griffith, yeah.
No, he's from Green Acres.
Oh, that was it. Green Acres. Yeah, he was the guy that was always like short stiffing him on stuff. You're talking fast.
Yeah, Hank Kimball was the character he played on Green Acres.
God, I love that show. Another thing I like also in this film is they don't pretty things up a lot. When you see them after they've had the goggles on after the blast, everybody has a shit pile of caked whatever on their face. Their
Dust,
faces.
something like that. Dust or ashes, I don't know.
And it was like, yeah, they didn't pretty them up. There we go. They made it look more believable. Great use of miniatures, even though, once again, saying the word miniature it's scaled miniatures. These things were gigantic miniatures because they film better. They film because if you get too small, you have an issue with surface. And that was cool too, reminiscent of something from Nagasaki or Hiroshima.
Yeah, the shadows. But not really. This time is what? The dust.
Ash bodies, yeah. Their bodies were turned to dust.
Actor Teru Shimida is definitely in this film. Great actor. Lots of different movies.
Any in particular?
Well, Tokyo Joe, but also The Wackiest Ship in the Army, House of Bamboo, The Snow Creature, And I think he did at least one or two of the Godzilla films.
Oh, there was something I completely forgot. George Powell worked a lot with the animator who did Woody Woodpecker. And Woody Woodpecker is said to be in the film when the first meteor rocket crashes. And it's at the top of a tree. I've seen images of it. I got to tell you, I can't fucking see it. But they say that's what it is. It's Woody Woodpecker in the film. I think I have one of the captures here. Let me see if I can find it. I've yet to see a quality version of it that I can tell is what they're saying it is.
He also appeared in Voyage to the Bottom of the Sea, Perry Mason, Hawaii Five-0, and was a Spectre agent in the Bond film You Only Live Twice.
Oh, cool. Oh, also, I saw another. Hold on, give me a sec. I got to find it. There's a reporter in this film, and I think it's this scene in particular that is also in The Day the Earth Stood Still. A real NBC reporter. Here we go. Here's the image. This is what they say is supposed to be Woody Woodpecker.
Okay.
I have not found a good quality picture yet.
A bit of a stretch.
And this, by the way, is something I find interesting, is that this is the Technicolor camera. And the three primary colors used for Technicolor are blue, red, and green. The same colors as the Martian's eyes, and it's not an accident.
Oh, referring to the television series.
What was that last message? Put that back up.
Slasher Fred asking me a question.
Oh, okay.
Hey, Keith, are you referring to Voyage to the Bottom of the Sea television series or the original film?
Movie.
Television series. Otherwise known as Really cool version of Sequest.
Now, I love that everybody, this just really reeks of small town. And I like that.
I think a lot of this movie was very was used to great effect as reference material for Brad Bird's film The Iron Giant.
Mm.
I should say films like this one along with films of this period. So
Again, the effects in this thing are really incredible, even for 1953.
yeah.
And they were inventing this shit as they were going.
Mm-hmm.
And at this period of time, it was still the studio system. So the effects department belonged to Paramount. It's Paramount's title. What do they call it? Paramount Title Optics. I can't remember what they called it there at Paramount.
Everybody had a different, they called their effects areas different things, but it all was about the same thing. I think even Disney had a different name for their people. But again, they were led by the genius of iWorks.
And because this is shot in Technicolor, and I got to say, I agree with critics that this is probably the best film to watch in Technicolor. The second best film is Vertigo by Alfred Hitchcock.
Yep. Thank you, Slasher Fred.
American Red Cross, back when American Red Cross meant something. Sixth Army. That's what I was, Sixth Army. Wow, that's amazing. I feel so awesome they mentioned my Army unit. Awesome. It made my decade. Hey, I wonder if he said battery correctly. Unlike Leslie Nielsen, who says battery. Also, Gene says gyroscope wrong in this film. It annoyed me.
I say battery. You never made fun of me.
No, you still are pronouncing the E. Battery. He says battery. It's
Yeah,
like
okay,
there's
that's
no
right.
other vowel in there. It's
That is
battery. Bat tree. Fucking weird. And the way Gene Barry pronounces it calls it gyroscope.
Uh-huh.
It's gyroscope. It's gyroscopic.
Yeah. It's a good thing he's not Greek. He would have called it a hieroscope.
But a bump.
Not to mention he might have had trouble leaving his little brothers behind.
Oh my God, Gary.
Oh my!
We had to say that.
I have a sound for that. There we go.
That's the drum.
Nice.
Dear Gene Barry, what did the five fingers say to the face?
It's like early this morning, I quoted two of the jokes that came out when I was in high school. What kind of wood doesn't float? Natalie Wood.
Oh, geez, dude, really?
Jesus.
What goes into 13 twice? Roman Polanski.
Oh, God, no. Oh, no. Those jokes.
I didn't make these jokes up, but they came out
true.
when I was a freshman in high school.
Yeah,
It was
yeah,
just
they're
like-
from.
They made the rounds, man.
Yeah,
Please,
well, they were
tell me
compiled
you didn't
into a
make them
book.
on a show.
They were compiled into a book
Tasteless
called Truly
Jokes.
Tasteless Jokes.
Truly
And
Tasteless
those-
Jokes. I remember that book.
Gosh, those things flew off the shelves. Everybody bought them. Everybody read them. And yeah. Ooh, the
It's just
Helen
like,
Keller jokes.
Oh yeah.
Oh, wow.
What happened when Helen Keller tried to read the waffle iron? She burned her fingertips. What was the joke? Oh wait. How did Helen Keller burn her right ear? She tried to answer the iron. How'd she burn the other ear? They called back.
Oh, God.
So there's really terrible jokes that came out in the late 70s, early 80s, man. They're really bad. Dead Baby Float was another one.
No,
Dead Baby Float.
don't do those. Don't do those. Don't do those.
You need a couple
Ooh.
scoops of ice cream, some soda, Dead Baby.
Oh, jeez, dude, really?
I know. These all came out between 1978 and 82. All those jokes.
Clearly.
Thankfully, they ended after 82 because Anima was born and she wouldn't allow that shit.
Oh, fuck off.
Yeah, you could still find copies of those books. I mean, everybody had to have their own copy of those books.
Oh my God. What did Princess Grace have that Natalie Wood could have used? A good stroke. Oh my God.
Oh, no, dude.
Dark?
And Tim, by the way, I shared those jokes with Tim earlier today because he shared with me a search he did with AI that dealt with Natalie Wood. And she had a good stroke, according, AI. AI is like, there's something wrong with AI.
Oh,
I'm
That's Google
surprised.
there.
I'm surprised it actually did like a joke with Natalie Wood in it.
no, everybody. I mean, there were
Right
several
the
Natalie
same
Wood
year
jokes.
she died, that joke came out.
Yep.
Well, comedy is tragedy plus time.
Yep.
Oh, jeez.
Now,
I
these
tell
things
ya.
had lots of wires in them. They weren't just held up by wires. There were electrical cables inside these things to light everything up, and they really did light up beautifully. And what a lot of people tend to forget when they look at it, but on the underside of each one of these vehicles, there are 3 holes that are lit up. And that is where the tripod legs were supposed to originally be. But they still found a way to put them in the film during the scene when they fire at them. You can see a shadow silhouette of it. And then also in a couple of scenes, you can actually see like mist going through the light beam coming out of the bottom. So it looks like it's got legs. It's really fucking cool shit. They pulled this off at the advent of visual effects.
Mm-hmm. This definitely was one of those films that was just very, very influential. So, in fact, the year after this movie came out, Disney released their film 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea. And that's another film.
Oh
that just
my
had
God. Back when Disney could make a fucking movie.
Back when Disney cared about entertaining us.
Now, as I recall, Cedric Hardwicke is the narrator of this film. When I originally saw it, I thought it was his voice, and that even though he was dead, he was still narrating the film, which wasn't unheard of. Look at those things. And they were like 4 feet to 5 feet across. These things are huge.
Yeah. Now, the film that Disney had released before then, before 20,000 Leagues, was the film Treasure Island, which was incredible in 1950.
Based on that book?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, I love
Very
that
colorful.
book.
Just an incredible looking movie. You should have Gary show you that sometime.
Oh, I will, because that book is one of my favorites. I have a lot of favorite books, but I came across a version like hardcover made to look old. of that book and 4 others that I can't. One is The Picture of Dorian Gray. I can't remember the other ones. And I had to buy them because A, I own it, and B, it looks old. So very
See that you can see the light spots underneath where the tripods are supposed to be coming out.
Wow.
That hold them levitated. But yeah, that film, the one you're talking about, that was an RKO Disney film. They both produced it, and it's a really good film. It has what's his name, Robert Newton, that plays Long John Silver in that, and he nailed that part. He would later play Blackbeard, and it had one of the funniest lines in that movie was where this woman is taken hostage at the beginning of the film, and she's brought to him, and she says, "Who be you, girl?" She goes, "Blackbeard." He goes, "Nah, I be Blackbeard. Who be you?" And I just laughed my ass off at that line.
Well, one of the actors in that film is Patrick Troughton, who would go on to become the second Doctor in Doctor Who.
Yeah. I'm
looking at pictures from like the 1950s Treasure Island. I think I've seen it.
It's the
a long time ago.
Yeah, this is. I just looked it up. It's RKO Walt Disney, British production.
Because in my mind, I remembered Long John Silver with a big red coat and a black is it tricorn, whatever hat?
Yeah, tricorn hats.
Tricorn hat. So I remember that. I have that image in my head. So I just looked it up. Yeah, I've definitely seen it a long time ago. I've seen
film is the best version.
Several different versions of it. I think there's a 1970. I didn't check. 1978, maybe 81, somewhere in that vicinity. There's another version. Pretty sure it's Disney Films that put it out. I've seen it on a VHS cassette, and it was not as good. Not as good.
No, Haskin put out a version too. The best version is that film. There's a version also that came out, I think, before with Wallace Beery and what's his name that played Perry White in the Superman movies from the 70s and 80s. Help me, Keith. Played Perry White in Superman the movie.
Yeah, that would be
Cooper. Cooper.
Jackie Cooper.
Jackie Cooper. Yeah, Jackie Cooper was in the because he and Beery did 2 films together, as I remember. Because I think he was the boy in the original version of the Champ, where Beery plays the boxer who dies in the ring.
Actually, hold on.
Look at those laser blasts. They are so fucking good.
Actually, the kid from the Champ was Jackie Coogan.
Oh, Coogan. Okay. Well, you know who he ended up being, Uncle Fester.
Yeah. Just amazing.
That was a very cool shot. Where they glow green.
Well, that is important. People have the understanding, at least back then, that the Martians are green. So the color green becomes very important to how you tell this story. And again, this film just looks incredible.
In Mars Attacks, they're green. Martians are always green.
Although they did come from a red planet, so go figure.
Yeah, but in the German-speaking countries that I grew up in, aliens for kids would be small green man.
Yeah,
Kleine
for
grüne
everybody.
Männchen. Oh, okay.
It's actually it's an American influence. It's an
Oh.
American influence on Europe and even Japan. That anything alien is green.
Yeah, even it impacted Spock with green blood.
And green makeup.
Yeah.
That's one of the things that they had to fix because his makeup included tinges of green in his face.
Yeah. Well, if you have green blood, of course your skin would look greenish.
Yeah, it had a little bit of a tint, not too much, but again, you have to get the remastered Star Trek to see that.
Martin,
Yes.
I just shared a link in the private chat. I'll pause this video real quick here. If you could play that clip exactly at the 6-minute 21-second mark with audio.
Give me a moment, please.
That's Robert Newton saying that line I told you about that just cracks me up. And I'll never forget it. I can't believe it. The movie is available for free, but it's a shitty copy on YouTube. Blackbeard the Pirate, 1952.
You're still on Blackbeard?
Well, yeah, because that line is such a great line. I just wanted to share it. So
Here's another Mephisto. Here's another one for you. The television series Black Sails. You will enjoy that.
Which is a prequel to
Yep.
Treasure Island.
I've seen the first episode. Didn't grab me.
It's
I
got
know
Toby
the show.
Stephens, who was supposed to be our doctor, the new doctor, but he got unceremoniously removed.
Yep.
So here you go. Go ahead, play it, Martin.
What be your name, gal?
Blackbeard.
No, I be Blackbeard. Your name be Edwina Mansfield, or it better be.
Okay, that's it.
all right.
That's it. That's it. That's it. Just that clip. Clever writing in 1952.
People that knew how to write and have fun, and a lot of the actors do have fun too. So
Blackbeard. No, I be Blackbeard.
Well, to be fair, when I grew up, my Blackbeard was Peter Ustinov. There's a
No, I liked him as Blackbeard. He was good.
it's Blackbeard's Ghost. That's the name of the movie. It's
another
with
Disney movie.
What's his face? The guy from Herbie.
Dean
I want to
Jones.
say Dean Jones. Dean Jones. I was gonna say Dick Van Dyke, but it's not the same dude.
I'm just telling you, Keith and I are walking encyclopedias of bullshit.
Yeah.
Everybody
It's
knows
me-
that you're
That's
full
how
of
he and I
shit,
became
Gary.
friends.
Me
That's how he
too,
and I
but not
became
with
friends.
names. Yeah, me too, but not with names. No.
We would just sit there and just talk about things, and people are like, "What the fuck are they even talking about?"
Full of shit.
It's a funny movie though. The Peter Ustinov one. It's a full-on comedy. It's not really like an action movie or a drama. It's just
Yeah.
funny.
Yeah, Dorset and Cornwall are the two areas where best known for sounding like the classic pirate accent.
Hey, Chief O'Hara.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, he kind of looks like him. He's that's what I see whenever I see one of the white hats.
Him and his
like that.
Faith and Begora accent. That's like I know nowhere in Ireland it sounds like that. Faith and Begora. It's like, what are you? That's not how.
Oh wow.
Now, screening, they use the word screening there. Screening is another way of saying shielding.
Yeah.
So that's the third thing they used. Yeah, they have some sort of power screens, screening.
They call them blisters too.
They said blisters, they said umbrellas. They had all sorts of names except for what they are, shields.
Which is weird because shields have been known to humans for like thousands of years. They figured out how to use stuff to shield themselves.
That last scene just, I thought of that, but I also thought of Mad World.
Oh, yeah.
Good movie. Need to do that one sometime.
See, right now he's Clark Kent. Mild-mannered reporter for the Daily Planet.
Yeah, well, you want to know what he's thinking?
I could nail her.
Get rid of that dude. He's a little tall. Get rid of that dude over there. He's a little tall. Get rid of that dude.
If she doesn't notice, I might be able to cop a feel. That's it. Stay asleep.
They're called lifts. I can appear taller and still wear the same shoes.
Yeah, your dirty old guy sounds like a really dirty old guy.
I'm gonna get some taters.
Like Artie Johnson from Laughing when he do his dirty old man.
Hey, little girl, would you like some candy?
Even I'm scared now, and I like Keith.
You gotta see that. You gotta see that sketch. Just
Okay.
Oh, it's one of the most famous sketches I ever saw. It was one of my first sketches that I could, as a child, just go, that's funny.
Now, Keith, that last voice that you did sounded exactly like Benicio del Toro in Sin City.
I was trying to go for Artie Johnson as the
That's what it was making me think of, is Artie.
See, her dad just got evaporated and she's back to like, let's have some food.
There was a scene there when she wakes up that she freaks out about her dad, but they cut that part out.
The uncle.
I,
in her defense, every time she tries to express some distress, he shakes her up.
Still, I mean, there's men from Mars and they're vaporizing people. That's not something that you get over in just a few hours.
No, but the guy doesn't let her. Every time she's gonna say something, he shuts it up.
I mean, how about you don't scream and draw attention? Just saying.
Oh, it's 1950s and this is a movie. You gotta have that. That's one of the standard things in science fiction movies of the 1950s, definitely going into the 60s, that if you were to have women, doesn't matter who they are, doesn't matter what character they are, it doesn't matter even if they have degrees, they will run and they will scream. And you can even see that all the way into the television series Lost in Space. That was one of the things that, it was just accepted. So that was considered proper science fiction. And then Gene Roddenberry and his friends come along and go, if we just have everybody be well thought out people. No, we can't have that. No, we can't. Too much talking. Too much.
National Trails, I know what you're talking about. It's this. They're based on the same design.
Peter Venkman, hey, to you.
Robinson Crusoe on Mars. Adam West is in that.
Yes, he is.
Snort's here, by the way, guys. Hello, Snort.
Hey, Snorts.
Snort.
Okay, Snort says that he prefers the more technical term for shields, stop-a-da-boom-boom thingies.
I like that.
Another one I've
Oh,
heard
wow.
used is screens.
Yeah, but that's Star Trek. I think it's
Well, they used it in another. There's another film I just watched called Planet of the Vampires. They have what's referred to as meteor screens. They protect the ship from meteors in space. Now, this is the same scene from the cellar in the book that was adapted for this scene and then adapted into the cellar scene for the Tom Cruise film. And that
Yeah.
one's a little bit closer to the book, except for there's no daughter there. It's just him and the crazy dude. And he murders him not to protect his daughter, but to protect himself.
Yeah, because he was making too much noise.
And this is the first time you get a good look at the Martians. The probe scene here is pretty much the same. It's shorter, but it's the same as it is in even Tom Cruise's version, where you see the Cobra-like head come in. It's got the 3 colors like you have in Technicolor. And again, that's not accidental that they chose to do that.
Correct, snort.
deflectors. Yeah, that's right, Snort.
They said deflectors and shields.
Yeah.
They used all 3.
That's a Gary question.
Does this count as a bridge?
Yeah.
Okay, Tim,
We
you have
don't
one.
do that here.
So there you go.
I don't like the idea of it going out the back door.
Oh, it's good you got an actor playing a astrophysicist. So
Yeah,
I thought this is one of the weaker set effects. I still love the idea of it.
we need new back to
out of the
videos,
wires.
Gary. It's been ages.
Yeah,
since
I'm
we've
going
done
to
one.
use my precious time to go do that right now.
No, I mean, I catch them when we come across them in the movies that we watch, but we are watching movies like on a daily basis, and it's been weeks since we came across the back door. I don't know.
Now, the moment that's coming up involves the physical version of The Martian, which was a lot of hard work because originally they designed it. It was supposed to be like over 6 feet tall, but then somebody had the wild idea to make it smaller for a person to be inside the suit. And they kept the same arms. So they're really long arms for these little tiny bodies, which looks kind of cool in my opinion. And, but in the shot, they had the rubber they used in it hadn't cured yet. It was still liquefied. And so it was falling apart as they were shooting. They were trying to hold it together with tape and everything. And finally, the scene where he throws something at it, and you hear it scream and then rushes off camera with its arms flailing in the air. In reality, that guy was on a track and they pulled him a little too hard and he almost fell out of the suit, tearing it apart.
Wow.
And you'll see it lean way back because that's what happened. But they kept it. It's in the film.
Kind of sounds like some of the problems they had filming 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea for Disney. Because when they created the squid, parts of the squid was falling apart. You know?
Yeah.
Really, Tim? Really?
You know what disappointed me about that show as a kid? It had nothing to do with Batman. And I'm not making a joke. I was really confused. Why is he called Bat Masterson if he's not a Batman?
Got to give you that one. At least he was able to wear cowboy boots. That way he wouldn't have to keep firing people. Oh, no, get rid of that guy over there. He's a little too tall.
Oh, there you go. That's your Beetlejuice voice. And that was that extended hand. And they did another cool effect in this is the guy's daughter that helped build this creature. She suffers from homochromia. She has 2 different colored eyes. It's really neat. She's interviewed a couple of times in the making of documentary.
I think that's heterochromia, right?
She was underneath the heterochromia, yeah. She was underneath the stage with a bottle pumping the veins to make the veins fill up and close, like it was pumping blood. And they would end up repeating the same effect later at the end as it's dying. That not only would they stop pumping air into the veins to make it look like it was beating, they would actually suck the air out of the veins to make them look like they collapsed.
Wow.
And it's a cool effect. Nobody had done that before.
It looks very cool, but when the one dude approaches it and touches it with his bare hand, I was like, no, don't do that. That was
Germaphobe.
No, not germaphobe. That's fucking alien. You don't know what it's going to do. We have animals on this planet that you shouldn't touch. So why would you touch an alien and a dead one at that? Huh.
We can use the scientific term cooties.
What?
We could use the scientific term cooties.
Space cooties.
Okay.
Is it anything like space herpes?
Oh no, dude! Really?
No, because cooties you can get rid of.
Yeah, space herpes lasts forever. Have you not seen the movie Ice Pirates? That's in the movie Ice Pirates. Space herpes.
I have not. And you
My
know
ship's got space herpes.
You should watch it, Anima. It's Space Pirates is stupid.
Ice Pirates is a lot of fun. It is stupid.
First of all, it's got Robert
Watch
Urich in it.
So.
Robert Urich is a great actor.
It has
Great Ohio actor.
It has Angelica Houston in it.
Yeah,
Such
one of her
a
first
waste.
roles.
Yeah. I think it also has Ron Perlman in it too.
Yep,
he is.
It also has Bing Crosby's daughter also.
Denise?
That's his granddaughter.
I don't know who the daughter is.
Denise Crosby's aunt is in the movie. She was the female romantic lead. So.
Oh, the princess?
Yeah. She was trying to remember her first name.
I can pull it up.
Mary.
That's it. Yeah, the one that very good, Tim. You're right. She's the one that shot JR.
John Matuzak's in it too. He plays Killjoy. Perlman played Zeno. John Carradine, Supreme Commander.
Bruce Vilanch.
Yep.
I just pulled up the cast. It's very interesting.
It was meant to be comedic, you know, and it was. It was meant to be funny. And I'm sure Bruce Vilanch helped with writing some of the funny lines for the film. He did the same thing.
You mean the spicy jokes?
He also did the same thing for many years at the Academy Awards. He was one of the writers for the Academy Awards that helped write some of the jokes that they used on the show.
The only reason I know who Bruce Vilanch is the fact that he was in Hollywood Squares, and back in the day, we had a TV channel that was I think it was based out of India or Thailand or something, and just to fill their slots, they just filled it with game shows, American game shows that were like a 1 or 2 years delay because it was cheap to buy. And then they filled it up with tons of like great shows like Buffy the Vampire Slayer and so many other shows. They just bought it for syndication. And you couldn't get those shows here unless you bought the complete DVD.
Wow.
Now, one interesting thing about the actress Ann Robinson is she's not just an actor, she's also a stunt writer. He did a lot of stunt work on horses. He did equestrian, steeplechase.
Subject matter that's really popular with William Shatner.
Yeah, I told you how my ex met him when she was little. She tells me this story. It's really funny. Yeah, she's like, yeah, it's like that street, and there he is. He's walking a horse on the other side of the fence at this ranch. So while I walked that entire city block with him, we talked about horses and everything. And I'm like, holy shit, you met William Shatner? Like, yeah, I met William Shatner. I talked to him, and he had a great conversation. And I'm like, I guess you have a lifetime nerd card for doing that. And then she's like, she goes, well, I didn't know who he was. I found out later, and when my mother read the newspaper, that's who I was talking to. And I went, oh, you just lost the nerd card. You don't get to keep that.
She never deserved it in the first place.
You didn't. Yeah, you didn't deserve it in the first place. Not knowing who he is. That's Captain James T. Kirk, for God's sakes.
Hey, I earned mine by meeting almost every single cast member of that show, save one.
Keith, you earned your nerd card by being born. Fact. You're born a nerd.
Which one you didn't meet?
DeForest Kelly, because he had already passed away. But I've met everybody else. In fact, I've met the entire Next Generation cast except Patrick Stewart.
That is so cool.
Well,
He used to be my captain.
I only met William Shatner because Patrick Stewart didn't want to go to that convention. They had the entire Next Generation cast show up at the convention, and so to replace Patrick Stewart, they brought in William Shatner. Personally, I thought it was the coolest thing ever. So,
yeah, that's definite upgrade. I've changed my mind about the whole who's the best captain over the years, because I grew up with the movies instead of the old TV show. Mm-hmm. So Kirk was my captain, and then I was like, "Oh, look, there's a continuation of the story," and I was like, "Sheesh, that's great." And Picard was my captain then.
Mm-hmm.
But since then, I just can't stand Patrick Stewart.
My mom let us watch Star Trek when it came on Austrian TV around, 2 p.m., 3 p.m. when we just came home from school because she was cooking. And whenever her husband was home, we were allowed to watch TV until the meal was ready, and then we would eat, and then it was homework time. And she, as a kid, she loved Star Trek. Spaceship Enterprise, if you translate the German version. So I was 12 when I met Captain Kirk and the crew. And yeah, I was excited to discover there's more than just the Enterprise. There are more captains, more shows.
Mm-hmm. All of it's exciting.
Yeah.
By the way, this is
the original.
They're using the alien lenses to. I got to go back. Hold on. They're shooting video through the aliens' eyes. So this is how they see the world. And I thought that's kind of nifty because you got that magenta and green colors.
Mm-hmm.
But you did mention they have sort of like that split Technicolor, green, blue.
Well, they specifically use Technicolor, the coding colors for Technicolor, because I think I still have that image. Hold on. Yeah, here it is. You'll see down there that's the film color codes: green, red, and blue.
Yeah, but there's picture I saw on the slide that it has like this mechanical eye, and the mechanical eye is split into a green eye, a red eye, and a blue eye. And when they're looking at it, that's what they have on the screen. So it has all the colors, but it doesn't match them well.
Yeah.
At least it's not a Brentwood.
She's freaking out looking into the lens. I'm going to tell you, I had an opportunity as a guest at a comic show one year to meet Patrick Stewart because he was there. And I opted instead to go hang out with Ian McNeice instead and have lunch with him. Because I like Ian McNeice as a person. I just like him. You know who he is, right?
I don't.
No.
Let's see. He was Fulton Greenwald in the Ace Ventura When Nature Calls movie.
Ian McNeice?
Yeah, Ian McNeice.
Okay, yeah.
He's short, fat dude.
Yeah.
Yes. He played
I know who he
Baron,
is.
Baron Harkonnen in the TV series Dune. He was Bert Large in all episodes of Doc Martin, which you've watched, Anima. He's the fat neighbor that owns the restaurant.
Oh, yeah.
That's Ian McNeice, and I had an opportunity to hang out with him or Patrick Stewart, and I chose Ian McNeice because I like him. That's Paul Frees right there. That's Paul Frees. That's the only shot you see of him in the film. The rest of the time, you just hear his voice.
Now, question: that bomber that looks like a B-2 bomber wasn't modeled after the B-2 bomber because it didn't exist back then.
No.
Uh,
How did they get to that design though?
Germans were working on that since World War II.
Okay.
That is the Northrop YB-49 flying wing.
Was that the actual one?
Yeah. It's a real plane. It's the Northrop YB-49.
I mean,
I'll
it does
read
exist.
here.
It exists in Captain America, the newer one. Yeah.
Yeah. So the YB-49 was an American prototype jet-powered heavy bomber developed by Northrop Corporation after World War II for the service in the United States Air Force. Although it never entered production, the YB-49 design and testing laid the groundwork for future Northrop projects, including the development of the B-2 stealth bomber. So there you go. And it is in the film. That's Paul Frees right there. And he was brought in specifically because his voice is similar tonally to Orson Welles.
Yeah. It wouldn't surprise me it crashed.
Yeah, they finally figured out how to stabilize a flying wing is by having multiple flaps that have to work opposite each other in order to create stabilization. It took a while for them to figure that shit out.
You know, filming on this movie was briefly halted because 2 days into filming, they found out that they only had the filming rights for a silent version of the film. So they had to get permission from the H.G. Wells estate to actually.
Well, that's because when he bought the rights, when the head of Paramount bought the rights, it was still during the silent era.
Yeah.
There's Paul Frees again. And he really did had a voice very similar to that of Orson Welles. I don't know how good an actress she is, but she looks like a bitch.
She does.
Wow.
She looks like the same scientist from 12 Monkeys.
That's the
Oh
first.
yeah,
That's the first Frau Farbissina.
Yeah.
yeah. The
Yeah.
Frau
Brücke.
Büchner. No, Blücher, that was it.
Originally, George Powell wanted the audience to put on 3D glasses when the actors put on their goggles, and then would have had the rest of the movie be in 3D. That was his original plan.
I hate 3D glasses.
I hate old school 3D because it gave me a headache.
I had a headache after watching my first movie in 3D with these cheap paper 3D glasses that you would receive at a movie theater. It was Alice in Wonderland. And I had such a headache after that.
You can actually buy glasses, take them yourself that are designed to watch that kind of movie. By the
Now
way,
you
that is
can. Back then
a
you
really cool mushroom cloud they created there on set.
Yeah, that was also in memoriam of Nagasaki and Hiroshima, I think. I think just to show how powerful these bombs are, because the shape of that cloud terrifies people.
Northrop was the one who eventually did master it, though. Because that's all they really focused on was like trying to create that flying wing. And it was the stabilizers they had trouble with, and finally they figured it out. Stinks, he said to the scientist. And the general says, okay, oh, you were talking to her. Yeah, here's the scene where everybody's got dust on their faces.
At least that dust is not the other people dead, like in the Tom
Right,
Cruise movie.
in Tom Cruise's.
Well, yeah, might be ashes though, not of people, but just stuff that burns when shit explodes. But yeah, that I like that scene when he realizes that he's covered in ashes of dead people and freaks out.
And there he is. I love this. That is the famous actor from The Thing and this film that played scientist. Robert Cornthwaite is the actor's name. And he just looks like he's just made out with a clown. Like, what were you doing? What were you doing?
Who makes out with clowns though? Ugh.
That's somebody's fetish. I'm telling you. You know there is somebody with that
for
fetish.
sure. There's nothing that isn't somebody's fetish. People are weird.
Yes, Wojciech Horowitz said on Barney Miller.
Barney Miller.
He says somewhere out there's somebody that would sleep with a shoe tree if you'd let him.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah.
That just like popped into my fucking head out of nowhere.
Right.
But I
All right,
remember
guys.
Wojo. You gotta go?
I need to go because I'm falling asleep.
All right.
Hey,
buddy.
I tried for the full 2 hours and I failed. I'm sorry.
I
Well,
was
all
but
good.
you came close. I mean,
Three-quarters
just-
of it.
Now, one of those days, I'm actually going to watch the movie you're talking about.
Do your homework.
I'm watching a lot of movies lately. None of them you cover, so I'll get to it. I do mean to. I mean, Gary did give me an assignment, so I'm on it.
You did?
Don't worry. Yep, it's between me and Gary. Okay.
Here's the funny thing. I have no fucking clue what he's talking about. I forgot.
Oh, you know, it's a not war movie. It's a, you know which one it is.
No, I don't. I've forgotten. What is it? Give me
It
Battle of Los
involves-
Angeles.
It involves Uganda.
Oh, yes, and Tebby.
Yep. All right. I'm going
wanna
to
watch
love
that
you
on-
and leave you. So
I love
bye,
you too,
everybody
buddy.
on the
See you.
chat. Bye, everybody on the panel. I love you all, and we'll see you. We'll see you in the next one.
Good night.
Take
Later,
care,
Yeah,
guys.
Mr.
good night.
Get some rest.
Good night.
So, yeah, I'm going to get him to stick around one day for the end of Spaceball, or not Spaceballs, History of the World Part 1, Jews in Space.
Oh.
Jews in Space. That's back when International Harvester made those buses. Now, what they ended up doing is they use from two different angles the same corner in Los Angeles. It's the same corner where the Bradbury building is. And then they switched to shooting on the back lot. And it blended perfectly. But Anima knows that the super duper top secret way of recognizing if you're on a back lot or if you're on a real street. Remember, Anima?
Yeah, of course I do.
You wanna
just look
share
at
it
the
with-
side. You just look at the sidewalk, and when that's awfully high, that's studio.
This is the same corner as the Bradbury building right here. That theater is the one across from the Bradbury building.
Well,
Yeah, I love when you do that, Gary. Ask me a question and then go right back to whatever.
Well, because I am doing a show. But no, I taught you that the way you can spot if it's on the backlot set or if it's a real street is the condition of and height of the curbs.
I just said that. You look at the
Yeah.
sidewalk, and when that is high, it's.
I know. I'm
studio.
just Jesus Christ, woman. I'm just reiterating it for anybody who might have missed it. So, like right there on the set, you can see how high the curbs are. It was one of the easiest things, and I learned it because of watching so much Adam 12 as a kid, because they were constantly shooting on the back lot.
Well, they said in that making of that they had a street that they could use for all the fighting scenes without having to close off a real road.
Oh, I didn't even think about it being Blade Runner. Thanks, Shanatsky, for making it all about Blade Runner, Dick. Captain America 4, Uganda forever. Uganda? Uganda or you ain't Uganda.
oh, jeez. That film is in so much trouble.
Look, I said it the other day, and I'm sticking by my guns on it. Feige can't make a good film without Ryan Reynolds. He's incapable of it now. It's all been ruined. It's now corporate filmmaking, and it takes somebody like Ryan Reynolds to shake it up.
Wow, dude.
Again, look at the height of that curb right behind him. Look how tall that curb is. That's clearly the back lot.
Yeah. I say let him burn. If he's willing to dive after money, after everything he's seen.
I'd like to treat Kevin Feige like they treated that copy machine in Office Space. And have the music just like it's in the movie.
The name of the song is called Still by the Ghetto Boys. See, for this scene here, you're going to play the song called The Lonely Man, which was used as the theme to the Incredible Hulk television series.
Dun, 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 dun. Dun, dun, dun. I love the episode of Family Guy when Stewie wants that theme, so he's walking away from the camera on the road, side of the road, playing the Hulk theme. That's so fucking funny.
See Gene Barry in the perfect scene. There's nobody taller than him.
Just him.
There you go.
It's all him.
Just him.
This is how I've always wanted it. Now, this movie did get an Oscar win. Only nomination was for special effects.
They spent a lot of money on special effects for this film. I think the budget was right
Oh
around
yeah,
$2 million.
it was $2 million, and 1.5 of it went to the visual effects.
That's right. You can see it. You can see where the money went. Unlike a lot of the Marvel films nowadays, but you can see where the money went.
And the weird part is they said it made a profit, but to my knowledge, box office was only $2 million.
Wow.
So it's like they spent $2 million and got $2 million back. I don't know how that, but I'm sure it made more money than that because it was a huge hit.
Yeah.
This is a giant 5-foot tall miniature. And by the way, the replicas of the buildings in this were so perfect and spot on that it impressed even the director. I've never seen props so accurate, miniatures. The buildings were exact replicas in miniature, down to every detail.
Wow.
Including unemployed people in the building, stealing stuff.
Why is Gene Barry always running in his movies?
He was the first Tom Cruise.
He's trying to outrace all those really dickish thoughts.
I've been to that church in Hollywood.
You have?
Yes.
Wow.
When I went out there to meet with the janitor from Battlestar Galactica and Shane Moore to do that TV show, that was one of the places I went to, is this church. The real church.
Yes. Looks almost like the church.
And I really do kind of like the religious overtones of the film. That God made these microbes that killed the Martians. The amoeba. Fucking amoebas kill you.
It's
They got
not
that-
amoeba. It's germs, period, that killed them. Be it virus, bacteria, whatever. They're not used to it, so it killed them.
Oh my God. Nice. Yeah, Raid on Entebbe we're going to be doing sometime right after the 13th, because that is the anniversary of not Entebbe, but of the Mossad.
Yeah.
And that raid wouldn't have taken place without the Mossad doing what they did. I think the Mossad has been around since December 13th of 1947.
AKA
there's that ray. Look at that ray. Look at that fucking ray.
It's beauty.
The optical effects done in this film just boggle my mind. 1952, released in 53.
This is one of those films that you can watch on a big screen TV and it still be effective. I mean, heck, you could show this in a movie theater now and it would still be effective.
I would love to see an original full print of this. And there is a 4K of this, isn't there?
I think so.
No, I think
Really?
No, I think not.
It should be. That's a shame if it isn't.
So the Criterion version of this is not 4K?
Hold on, I'm opening up right now. Yes, there is a 4K version. It is available. You can get it right now on discount at Amazon for $16.99. I will put the link into the public chat.
Just don't say the word, please. Or words. More like. Because you mentioned discount.
There you go, guys.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Thank you. That's a movie we need to do, by the way, Bubba Hotep. We'll do it on a Friday, too.
Also, I'd like to do John Carter. That would be fantastic.
Another good one for Friday. I agree with you. That is a movie that should have been bigger than it was, and all we have to thank for that is Bob Iger and misappropriation of funds that was supposed to go into the marketing of that film and instead went to the pocket of George Lucas to sex him up and buy Star Wars. So you can buy that right now on Amazon. It is available right now. The 4K copy is on discount for $16.99 right now for this movie.
Well,
let's see.
Venkman's girl, you nailed it.
What did she say? Well, it's an old fucking movie.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
No, because you said it's on discount, and I say just don't mention the words why it is on discount, because I'm allergic to that after this week.
Yeah, it is. It's exactly why you're pissed. It's a fucking Christmas version. The Criterion version is also available for $14.98. You can get it as soon as December 5th. I will check that one out here too, but I want to look on this one. Product description: H.G.Wells' chilling novel of Martian invasion of Earth becomes even more frightening in this 1952 film adaptation. It was shot in 52, released in 53. Get your numbers right. That's widely regarded as one of the greatest science fiction films of all time. It's an Oscar winner for best special effects. The War of the Worlds delivers eye-popping thrills, laser-hot action, and unrelenting edge-of-your-seat suspense. Don't oversell it, bitch. No one has seen the film's depiction of the swan-shaped Martian machines ticking and hissing menacingly as they cut their path of destruction. What are the special features on this fucking thing? They don't tell us anything. I'm looking for special features. Well, fuck it. I'm going to go to the other one. The Criterion Collection is available for 50% off at $14.98, down from $30, basically. And it's available on DVD for $14.98, Blu-ray for $44.98. But it does not say that it is 4K, so my guess is 2 or 3K version, HD. And let's see. I'm looking to see if they mention any special features. Special features. No, this is in the new. Why do they promote it this way? It is in 4K restoration by Criterion. New programs and visual effects and sound effects in the film and the restoration. Audio interview with producer George Powell from 1970. Radio adaptation from 1938 featuring the narration of Orson Welles and more. My guess is also going to have those special features that, like the making of, which was 29 minutes long. It's a good one. It's not great, but it's a good short documentary.
Look who
And
showed
this
up
is
at the end
what
of
I was
the
talking
show.
about, where they didn't just stop pumping the vein, they pulled it off the tube and sucked the air out with his mouth so they would collapse. Don't touch it. You don't know where it's been.
You
Well,
have
it's
to
up
make
there.
fun
It's
of
been,
me,
it's
huh?
been up there, up inside the ship.
Shut up. Shut up, Gary. Hi, Zax.
And for
Fuck
Zach,
you, Zach.
Hey, fuck you, Kyle.
That's what I said. Fuck you, Kyle. Fuck you, Kyle. Screw you. I'm going home. Yeah, that arm coming out would just be any homeless person falling asleep with their arm outside the tent.
I don't
Oh.
even.
Evil. It's evil. Evil, I says. Oh, Grandpa, you said that about all the toys. I know. I just want attention. You know, if I made a sci-fi movie that killed it would be a venereal disease that killed the aliens. That'll teach them. There you go. That is War of the Worlds, 1953, classic film. One of the best sci-fi films ever made. And it was cutting edge. And this was really the first of the major visual effects films ever made. And George Powell would oversee more. You had rocket ships to the moon. Then you had the Earth Stood Still, but When Worlds Collide is his other film that he produced. It's really good. Then he did this one, and then he started really directing. And his first film that he directed was not War of the Worlds, but The Time Machine, another classic H.G. Wells story. And that film stands to this day too. I love some of the shit they pulled off in that film. I always feel bad for Ray Harryhausen because he wanted to be the guy in charge of the visual effects for this, because he had even done a pitched video showing the Martian looking like what was described by H.G. Wells, which squid-like, and had a beak and bulbous head coming up out of the screw-turn capsule. It looks great, but my problem is I'm not a big fan of stop motion. I'm a bigger fan of go motion animation, which go motion is still stop motion animation, but they do something. And if you don't know what it is, it's really kind of cool, where at certain points where there needs to be a blurring for motion, that right when they snap the photo, they jostle the tabletop that the model is sat on. So it blurs slightly. And then it creates a blurring of movement. Rod puppetry was added to it later, because the last go motion animation it was done was for The Empire Strikes Back. And then after that, they started using the rod puppet version of animation. Phil Tippett was in charge of that. And Phil, what he came up with was using like old Japanese rod puppets, but instead adding this to objects. Like the Rancor was done that way, and the AT-AT was done that way. The AT-ST was animated that way for Return of the Jedi. And it's like they're manipulated with rods to make them look like they're walking, held up by wires. And as they're being filmed, it creates a blurring effect of movement. They're shooting at a different speed, so as they're doing this, it just makes it look like it's really moving. Yeah, Jurassic testing was done with go motion. And Phil Tippett, again, was in charge of that. And Phil Tippett saw the future and realized that I better learn how to do this, because this is where it's going to go, and I don't want to be out of work. And so he learned how to do digital animation. And a lot of times, like Phil Tippett would animate the scene with like an actual like frame by frame animation, and then he would go and imitate it in the CG world.
They use and in my opinion, it's the best technique. Hybrid technique. They made skeletal marionettes that could record the position. So they put they make the animal pose with their hands, and from one pose to another, they have the software with reverse kinetic that calculate how the rest of the frames between one pose and the other how should look. That was awesome.
Yeah, it would do the iterations in between. It's called tweening, and it's one of my favorite parts of animation, because like all you're doing as an animator is doing something akin to animatics, because you're doing this shot and then you're going to have a full shot of him at a different angle. And what a tweener does, their job is to take that shot and connect it to the other shot. And they do the tweening. It's in between the tweening. And they did the same thing through CG. Either way, I'd rather watch this movie than the Spielberg one. Look, it's got its value. There are certain things about the film I do like with Tom Cruise. But the fact is it misses the greater point. And the other thing that pissed me off, and if you guys watch the episode where I criticized the ending, is he's a huge fan of The Searchers with John Wayne. John Ford's classic Western, The Searchers. Probably one of the greatest Westerns ever made, if not the greatest Western ever made. And Spielberg is so obsessed with it that he's wanted to have that at the end of his movie, and he chose War of the Worlds incorrectly, because that character should have been welcomed warmly for what he did at the end of that film. And instead, it has kind of a cold ending, because here's this guy that went through all this to deliver his children to the mother. Like that was his only job, and now he can go off and die. I fucking hated that ending. But I did like the fact that they did have Anne and Jean as the grandparents in that scene. That's the cast. The two leads in this film were the grandparents in War of the Worlds by Spielberg. There are so many
the
little
ending was
problems.
weird in the new one.
They should have said, "Oh my God, not again."
Oh no, not again.
Not again.
Speaking of the Searchers,
like John Hurt. What?
Speaking of the Searchers, it's also a film that included the original Captain Pike, Jeffrey Hunter.
Yeah, Jeffrey Hunter plays his nephew. And it's a great film. But going back to War of the Worlds, the other problem I had with Spielberg's version is just the idea that they planted those tripods under the ground. Thousands of it is stupid. That was stupid.
Yeah.
It was dumb.
Anyway, guys, I need to go. It's past midnight. I have more crazy tomorrow and on Sunday. So
Are we meeting, or what do you want to do? You going to bed?
I don't know. It depends. I didn't know whether you wanted to keep on going because you've been doing almost 3-hour shows lately, or if you're wrapping. I don't know.
Is that a rebuke?
No, I'm just saying I need to go.
Okay.
I don't know how close you are to wrapping, but
Well, I would like to do my thing that I do every week, but I don't have to do it, I guess. This week.
I forgot that. I'm sorry. Go do it. Sorry, I forgot it's Friday. How can I forget it's Friday when it's fucking Black Friday?
It's Der Freitag.
Yeah.
Let's see. Let me pick one real quick. I've got a bunch here.
I can't leave before that, so.
All right, I guess I can pick this one. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we now do the part of the show before the what?
Bring it.
Oh. All right. So this week, after being made to fight 3 fellow recruits with a bugle stick, I then had to fight my drill sergeant. Did you read that again, or did you get all of it?
Yeah. What are
After
bugle sticks?
to fight 3 fellow recruits with bugle sticks, they look like the giant cotton swabs. They're long staffs with big padded pillows on the ends.
We've
And you
seen
fight-
that in movies when they show basic training. They show fights like that.
So after being made to fight 3 fellow recruits, 2 of them, I fought one, and then he's like, "You did so well, why don't you fight 2?" So I had to fight 2. And I kicked the shit out of him. Then when I was done with that fight, he says, "How about we fight?" And I'm like, "Oh, you asshole." So there you go.
You didn't
So-
like that?
So again, I then had to fight my drill sergeant. So started asking questions.
I'm surprised you didn't like that. That was an opportunity to show off given to you.
There's a reason I didn't like it.
Because you were made to?
No.
Were you exhausted already?
There you go.
Oh,
He made me fight 3 fucking people and then made me fight him.
Did you lose?
It's a good question.
And the answer is?
I knocked the shit out of him. I knocked the loving shit out of him. But he
What
won.
was his reaction to that?
Because my arms were like noodles by the time I had to fight him. And that's why he did it. He's an asshole. And I loved him, no. I really did. Drill Sergeant Samuels. and he got me. And I was like, why is he doing this? Because he knew I could fight. He knew I knew how to fight, like fight. And he had me fight one guy, and I just knocked him down. Like every single time he got up, I'd just knock him right back down, take his feet out from under him, or I'd catch him at an angle and just take him straight to the ground with the end of the stick. And I pinned him at one point. And then the second fight, that was hard because I'm taking on two people, and they were smart. They did not stay on one side of me. They kept going around me, and I always had one behind me. And I kept having to like flick back and forth, and you got a big football helmet on trying to watch somebody, and it just wore me out. And then he goes, oh, well, you did so well that time. Why don't you just take old lonely me on? And I was like, oh. After I've expended all that energy, now I got to fight the drill sergeant who I know knows how to fight. Yeah, this is not going to end well.
Yeah.
Did he had any special motivation to want to kick your ass?
No, he liked me. I got along with my drill instructor. We were friends. I mean, we weren't pen pals or anything, but we did stay in contact after the Army for a while. You know,
So
both
he
my
just-
drill instructors and I.
He just wanted to play fun, but first he wants to make sure the odds were even somewhat.
Did you ever get back to him for that?
No.
Oh, okay.
More questions?
Oh, I don't know any. Keith, ask him something.
Let's see. I've heard the story. So Gary's talked to me a lot about.
You aren't supposed to say this.
Yeah.
I can't answer. See, I can't play.
You're
I
just
can't-
telling everybody I'm telling the truth.
Welcome
He
to my
just
life.
gave the
Keith.
answer, man.
I'm
I
sorry.
have to do this every week, and I know most of his stories, so just play along.
Okay.
Come on, man.
And the audience is instructed to forget everything that had happened in the last 30 seconds.
Yeah.
Like normal.
Let's just use one of the things from Men in Black to zap the memories.
Neuralizer. Yeah, I wish I
Yeah.
had one.
Oh, we need
So we're
a
going
picture of
to switch
that.
it. So this is that moment in the show where we reboot it. Yeah, so here you go. All right, so today's, because Keith fucked that one up.
I know. I'm sorry.
I once pretended to lose a venomous snake during a Jehovah's Witness meeting.
We did this.
Yeah.
I've never done this one, did I?
Yeah, that was
Yeah.
the last one.
No, not the last one, but we
No?
did this.
No, I'm sorry. I was thinking of a music video.
If we didn't do it, he told the story on the stream.
So I once pretended to lose a venomous snake during a Jehovah's Witness meeting, and I don't remember ever telling you any story like this. So
Okay, first question from the audience.
What kind of snake?
What kind of snake?
it was supposed to be a moccasin, a juvenile moccasin. Why did he have the snake? Oh, that's a good question. Who asked that one?
What? The kind of
Who
snake?
asked me that? Somebody said, "Why did I have the snake?"
How
I
did you
think
get
it was
the snake?
Keith.
Yeah, it was me. Why did you have that snake?
Okay, so the building that is currently used for the VFW in Fredericksburg, Virginia, used to be the home of Jehovah's Witness Kingdom Hall, and it's typical no fucking windows. It's just no windows in this building. It's really weird how they do that. And I made a joke to Jim Woodward and to Mike Beatty and all of our buddies that we should sometime prank them. And like, what will we do? I don't know. And so I came up with this idea to go in the door, during service and interrupt the service wearing brown overalls, because Mike and I had already stolen brown overalls to do what we did in high school. So I had this pair of brown overalls, jumpers, whatever you want to call them. And I had it's a cardboard box that you fold at the top like a Happy Meal, but it's big and long. And I put like fake snakes in there. And I walked in there and with a clipboard and I said, "Hi, I'm here for the delivery of venomous snakes for religious worship." And they're like, "What?" And I went, "Yeah, I'm here to deliver the venomous snakes for a Southern Baptist Christian religious service." And they're like, "We are not Southern Baptists." Now, ironically, though, and Keith will either agree or not agree with me. Every single black person I've ever known in my whole life didn't like snakes. Keith,
as of our most recent meeting, of which Denzel was late to, that is correct.
And in Fredericksburg, Virginia, a majority of your members of the Jehovah's Witnesses are black. And so there was just some black women that were going, "Oh, Lordy." And they're looking at me, and I got this box, and I shook it. So it had some weight in it, moving around. I said, "Yeah, I brought these snakes for you're supposed, is this not?" And I said the name of the church. I can't remember. It's Pentecostals or something, the ones that worship with snakes. And I said, "Oh, I am so sorry. I've come to the wrong church. This is my mistake." And pastor's like, "Oh, that's okay. That's okay." And then I acted like I opened the box to look inside. And then I like was bouncing my head. And then I like looked around the room and I looked back in the box and I went, I may or may not have lost a snake in here. And then that room erupted into screaming and yelling. Pure fucking pandemonium. And I said, "I'm going to go grab my snake stick and I'll be right back." And I left the room and I never came back.
Wow.
This is back before people would video record these things. I didn't think of doing that, like recording some of our pranks. And you could hear him outside screaming. That's what left. There was no snake in there. And I've done some terrible pranks. I told you. No, I'm not going to tell you that one. I'm not going to tell that one right now. I can say that for another weekend. When I was in the Army, I did a prank just about as malicious. And it's not really mean. It wasn't really a snake that was loose. It was just the idea, and it just freaked everybody out. And I thought that was hilarious. And we were doing Jackass stuff way before Jackass.
True.
And saw my gators, punks. So the question is, was it true or false? It's 75% true, 25% false. In the chat, what is it here with you guys?
Oh, well, I voted true.
True.
True. All right. Yeah, it's true. What kind of snake was it? It's called the imaginary snake. There was no snakes. I had no real snake. I just had rubber snakes in the box, and I had to make them believe I had a snake. And then worse than that, one had gotten loose when I sat the box down. And it was pure fucking pandemonium. And I wished we had thought, because like I pulled so many pranks, like God, another one I can't tell you because I got to save it for another day. So many fucking pranks. Matt McGuire, the guy from Guar, he and I did a couple of funny pranks. Actually, we did 3 pranks that were really good. I just remember the other one. And I'll have to save that all of those pranks for a Saturday. See if I can twist it enough to make it a lie, or if I can tell the truth. So this one was true, and there were no real snakes. No snakes were harmed in the telling of the story.
Nor Jehovah's Witnesses.
Just some very excited old black women.
No.
I was like going, God, I hope, later you think of it, it's like, God, what if I gave one of those people a heart attack? Oh my God. So
bad.
There you go. True story. Somewhere someone has told that story to their kids or grandkids. I don't doubt that for a second, that things I've done ended up on somebody else's plate to tell of something that they endured. I can tell you there are teachers of mine that hated me for a reason. I liked some of them, and it made me feel sad that they didn't like me, but, oh well. Is what it is. So, absolutely true, Victim's Girl. So, that's it this week. I'm done. You guys done?
Yeah.
No, I'm Martin.
I am going to eventually.
Wow.
Done a while ago.
But I am going to eventually replace this with the sound of Anima going, noises.
I can't help it, but I make noises. Yeah, Gary loves it.
I think it's funny. All right, guys. Everybody have a safe Friday. Don't forget, later tonight, you've got John doing his show tonight. What game is he playing?
No, John is not having his show tonight. He's
the one time I remember he's not doing it. Okay.
Yeah, he has a family meeting tonight.
Family meeting? You mean dinner?
I don't know.
Well, listen.
Okay, those what?
Good show. And hopefully next week everyone will join us, because next week we are doing what? Next TGIF? I mean,
I think next week
wasn't it Congo?
It's either going to be Congo or it's Planet of the Vampires. I haven't really made my mind up. I do know I want to do Congo this month, with Bruce Campbell screaming like a little bitch.
Well, I say
Congo
you just
is
leave
set
that
up for in 2 weeks.
What, Keith?
No, I was just checking. Also, I just want to say, haven't had a chance to really say anything about this since the news broke. Jim Abrams passing away.
Oh, really?
Yeah. The heart of the humor of the Zucker brothers. Really good producer, really good writer. Created a lot of moments and a lot of memories and a lot of the films they did, starting with Kentucky Fried Movie and everything beyond that. So
I was about to say, don't forget that movie, because Kentucky Fried Movie is where it all got started.
Yep. So if you get an opportunity, check out one of their films this weekend. Yeah, it is. It's kind of sad, but he, according to his son, he passed away at 80. So still difficult to wrap my head around that one, but yeah.
Oh, by the way, bringing that up reminds me that Anne Robinson from this movie, War of the Worlds, still alive. She's almost 100.
Wow.
In 3 years, she'll be 100.
Wow. Cool. I hope she makes it.
Me too. Yeah, I mean, George Burns, what did he do? He
missed.
Betty White died right before the birthday, and George Burns made the birthday and then died right after. Bob Hope, I think the same thing. But here are the three films. We got Congo. We've got Village of the Damned People. No, just Village of the Damned. That's a Robin Williams joke, if you didn't know that. Village of the Damned People.
Well, at least it's not Damn Village People.
It's the same difference. And, of course, Planet of the Vampires, the film, one of the films that helped inspire. The Terror Beyond Space and Planet of the Vampires inspired the film Alien.
The one that's currently set up for next Friday is The Professional. I just checked.
Oh.
So we have that one in the line too.
Maybe we move that to Wednesday, because I really like that.
Could be a Wednesday too.
Wednesday.
Yeah.
That's more of a Wednesday movie.
Although Yen
William
makes
Russell.
me cry every time.
Who's William Russell?
Don't know.
I don't know who that is, Maintenance Girl.
I don't know. She may be yanking our leg.
English
I don't-
actor.
What? Oh, okay.
Apparently,
Well,
our
there we
chat
are.
is for Congo.
Hmm. No. Ian from Doctor Who.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
No, but Congo
All right.
keeps popping up in chat for next week, so maybe we should do that.
All right, we can do. It's all right with me. I'm all right with all three of those movies. So that's why I made them: Congo, Planet of the Vampires, and Village of the Damned People, and then of course, there you go. So we'll do Congo next week. All right. So that's the end of the show, guys. Have a good Friday. Don't forget Doomcocks tonight, and with Friday Night Frolics, and that's always going to be fun. So we'll see you guys
See you
later.
tomorrow.
Oh shit, we got to do a show tomorrow.
Yeah.
Oh, what are we watching tomorrow?
Mad Max 2.
Oh, that's a good movie. All right, I'll be here for that. Maybe.
I'll try to watch it between work and the show. Okay.
Yeah. All right, bye, guys.